So the good little regime shill, also known as Joe Rogan, or Slow Rogan, as many of you call him, he is continuing to humiliate himself on a daily basis, as we have the Epstein file scandal just absolutely peaking. He invites on RFK Jr. and plays patty cakes with him. That's great. So here we have a video from the American Redact YouTube channel. Everybody go subscribe to that channel. It's titled Joe Rogan is Completely Compromised, and it lays out for us exactly how the Rogan experience has become the Jeffrey Epstein experience. And even when everybody's talking about the Epstein files and asking all sorts of questions that are perfectly legitimate about the nature of the Epstein class, the rapist, pedophile, sadist billionaires and their elite buddies, he's MIA. Mr., used to follow conspiracy theories closely. Now he's like, I don't even want to look at that, bro, because it's scary, bro.
I do it on a podcast, but that's my job. I don't know how many conversations I'd be having with people who I was politically opposed to or ideologically opposed to or just didn't see eye to eye with them and wanted to know how they think. I don't know how many opportunities I would ever even get to do that.
What you're doing is so important.
He says that as if bro, I always have on left-wingers. I always have on people who are critical of the Trump regime and go hard against them. You've been in a fucking hug box for years now. You've been in a hug box. You had on J.D. Vance softball interview, Donald Trump softball interview, Peter Thiel softball interview, Elon Musk about 1,000 times, softball, RFK, multiple fucking softballs. Literally, it's the MAGA whitewashing network and the Epstein network. That's what it is. How many people there? You had on Epstein's personal chef, bro. You had on his personal chef and didn't ask him any questions about Jeffrey Epstein. You had on Epstein's doctor. You had on Epstein's doctor, the guy who said all sorts of disturbing stuff to him in the emails. He literally just got let go from CBS because they couldn't cover for him. It was that bad. He's talking about his pussy low carb with Jeffrey Epstein. He says, the crazy thing about being friends with you is I can't tell anybody what you do. Tee-hee-hee. Yeah, that guy is fucking Joe Rogan's doctor also, and he's had him on the podcast in the past. So he's got so many connections. He didn't personally go to the island or to meet Epstein, but he covers for people who did all the time.
There's 1,000 people imitating you. Many really good podcasts.
All right, so it looks like Joe Question Everything Rogan has, yet again, invited someone onto his show who was once directly connected with Epstein and failed to mention the Epstein connection or even the files in general during the entire 2.5-hour podcast, which is just pretty interesting being that Joe Rogan spoke about that topic with every single one of his guests since the files were released about a month ago.
And by the way, not doing any sort of serious deep dive, not bringing up any of the most relevant shit. Not bringing up anything that implicates Trump, for example, or Elon Musk, who's his buddy, or Peter Thiel, not bringing up any of that shit.
Including RFK Jr.'s very own wife, Cheryl Hines. But I guess when a guy who admitted to flying on Epstein's planes multiple times comes onto the show, Joe suddenly loses interest in the largest conspiracy drop of the decade, and has more pressing issues to talk about with a guy who once personally knew Jeffrey Epstein.
And the fact that people on the left weren't outraged when they read the Twitter files and found
bro, he talked about the Twitter files? He talked about the Twitter files in the year of our Lord 2026. Holy shit. Oh, the right got their free speech taken away. You have any fucking thoughts about endorsing a guy who literally is locking people up for being pro-Palestine and protesting a genocide in Israel? Any thoughts on that, Joe? Or are you going to keep talking about the fucking Twitter files? Are you going to talk about him in 2042? Is that what you're going to bring up? The Twitter file? Oh my God, bro.
how much involvement there was in silencing real information and removing people who were from Stanford.
The White House
MIT.
ordered me to be removed from Instagram. I lost 1 million followers.
Insane.
And so this is most likely done by design, as Joe's show has become more and more like a government-sanctioned propaganda factory. It's almost like there's a set of bullet points Joe's sticking to here to make RFK Jr. look good, and it's completely pathetic. Because before the Epstein files dropped, RFK Jr. was completely fine with talking about his past flights with Epstein and how he went fossil hunting with a guy back in the 90s, as his defense was always that nobody knew about Epstein's nefarious ways before 2006.
Okay, but give the context, obviously, to the Epstein thing, because you basically got out ahead of the...
So first of all, I'm in New York for most of my life.
Yeah.
So, you run into everybody in New York. I mean, I knew Harvey Weinstein. I knew Roger Ailes. I knew O.J. Simpson came to my house. I knew that Bill Cosby came to my house.
You also knew good people.
Bro, I was friends with all the rapists and all the pedophiles and all the murderers personally. They actually are the funnest people to be around.
You don't know these people are swamp creatures until all this stuff comes out. My plane rides with Jeffrey Epstein, I took 2 plane rides with him. My wife knew his girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, and of course, I ran across Jeffrey Epstein at parties, at fundraisers, the Robin Hood fundraiser in New York.
So if this JRE podcast was done before the files dropped, RFK would have certainly brought up the connection himself right away. But the fact that neither of them talked about perhaps the biggest headline of the year, even for a second, really raises some questions. And it just makes this email chain in the Epstein files that much creepier. Where Jeffrey, after learning that RFK Jr.'s previous wife was found hanging in her backyard, responded to that message with, whoops.
I need you to stop and think about that, bro. RFK is in the Epstein files. You have Jeffrey Epstein talking to Eva Dubin. Mary Kennedy, RFK's ex-wife, found dead in her backyard. Epstein responds, whoops. What does that mean? Were you in on it? Did you fucking have her whacked? I did a video on this. I covered this. And I believe I did it a day before RFK went on Rogan's show. It's not just me. So many people on the internet were talking about this email. This email is a fucking huge deal. Didn't fucking mention it to RFK. Not even a little bit. Didn't mention it. Not only this, of course, doesn't mention any of it, but, how many times has he brought up that there's a video of Epstein saying I was Trump's best friend for a decade? Has he talked about that? Has he talked about any of the specific allegations, like the Katie Johnson allegations against Trump? Has he talked about the fact that they're literally redacting from the files illegally the interview that the FBI did with Katie Johnson? Did 3 interviews with her. They took it out to protect Trump. Any of that come up, Joe? No, nothing. Because you're a fucking hack. You're a hack. All you do is meat ride the regime. You're not telling your audience the truth. You don't care about the truth.
For Joe to not even question that, or for RFK Jr. to not even bring it up and clear the air like he did so gleefully before, certainly makes everything look a little more dark.
Yeah, because that's a lot harder to explain away than a plane ride with the world's most prolific pedophile child trafficker. It's much harder to explain away an email which looks like Epstein had RFK's wife, his ex-wife, whacked. That's what it looks like.
What on earth could whoops even mean? I guess on the Jeffrey Epstein Experience podcast, they just don't talk about that sort of thing anymore. Instead, they'd rather spend time talking about how great the United States of America is, and how much better we are than the UK, where RFK Jr. and Rogan spend some time talking about the UK's arrests over social media posts, which is completely ironic being that the UK is also the only country to actually arrest someone connected to the Epstein files.
Damn.
12,000 arrests is crazy. That's a crazy amount of people go to jail for social media posts.
They're building concentration camps in this country right now, Joe. They've sent people to El Salvador to get tortured and raped. The guy you endorsed did that. Okay? Like I said, they deported people who made Charlie Kirk jokes after he got shot. They deported them. They've gone after people for protesting the genocide. Like, they've arrested people for writing op-eds critical of Israel. And here, the UK, the free speech situation is bad there. Not like here, where our free speech situation is awesome. They tried to get fucking Jimmy Kimmel fired over jokes. They threatened a RICO case against a bunch of protesters that called Trump a warmonger. Trump sued Ann Selzer because she released a poll that he didn't like. He sued CBS over a Kamala interview. He sued the New York Times for $15 billion. Like, he threatens to de-license news outlets all the time for covering him and explaining bad things, covering terrible things that he does. Like that. But you focus on the UK? Real? Oh my God, dog. He's so cooked. His brain is so cooked. It is fucking oatmeal.
The framers of the Constitution, free speech was everything for them, and they put it in the First Amendment because they knew all the other.
Yeah, and you are part of a regime that's more anti-free speech than any regime in modern American history.
Rights and guarantees were dependent on it. If you have a government that can silence its opponents, it has a license for any kind of atrocity.
I mean, when you're living in a world where the government has the power to dictate what's real and what's not real, and they don't have an obligation to be correct, you got a real problem. And if there's no consequences for them being incorrect, and they've silenced correct speech, they've gotten away with something that's real slippery and real dangerous. And when there's a lot of money involved and a lot of businesses involved.
Gee, I wonder what other government has the power to dictate what's real and not real and has no obligation to be correct. It's almost like Joe's describing his beloved administration to a T here.
I like when he had on Kash Patel, and Kash Patel was like lying to his face, and then later on he goes, What am I supposed to, like, push back against him? Yeah, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Oh, my God, what a cook. He went to the inauguration, bro. He talks to Trump on the phone. He texts with Trump. He calls Trump like a giddy little schoolgirl.
And the iron grip it has on his very podcast. But of course he won't bring that up with someone who's literally in the administration and in the files. I mean, Joe's even admitted on his podcast recently that he's been losing sleep over everything that's happening. Almost as if he's realizing in real time how much of a bad decision it was to defend these guys tooth and nail. Like there's just no way to make them look good anymore. But unlike Tim Dillon and Andrew Schultz, who have actually flip-flopped recently and started calling out everything wrong that the current administration's doing, from Kash Patel burning taxpayers' money on vacation trips to Milan, to Pam Bondi only releasing half the files, and Peter Attia stepping down from CBS due to his ties to Epstein, Joe hasn't mentioned any of that because he's simply in this thing way deeper than his other comedian pals. I mean, Joe's allegedly having phone calls with Trump every other week these days. So he's in past the point of no return, and is fully compromised at this point. So as a result, he's now losing sleep over it.
I don't know if I just get scared by AI clips on Instagram.
Bro, I'm
but
scared
it's
of everything. I have to fucking stay offline.
I know.
I'm reading too much of the news, and it's overwhelming me. Like sometimes at nighttime, like I can't wind down.
Yeah.
It's just like there's too much news. It's too much fucking madness. We're about to go to war with Iran.
I know.
Like everyone's eating beef jerky and pizza. Like what are these? What the fuck is pizza?
I know.
You know, how far does this go? How come this never got released before? Like what is happening?
And so, deep down inside, Joe desperately wants to call out everything wrong with the Trump administration, just like Andrew Schultz and Tim Dillon are right now. But being that Joe's puppet strings are allegedly being pulled by those guys in one way and another, he really just can't. Like, he doesn't push back on anything.
Humiliating. Torching his integrity and the future relevance that he has, all to what? Talk to Donald Trump on the phone and text with him for however much longer he's alive? Like, really? So also you can fucking, hang out with Elon Musk, who's the world's biggest fucking loser and biggest con man and fraudster in the world. That guy cut pediatric cancer research and Meals on Wheels. He should be in prison, and you want to hang out with him at your fucking, shitty comedy place, whatever the fuck it's called, the Comedy Mother House, I believe it's called. But like, what really, Joe? I mean, these decisions are just horrible. They're just horrific. And you're doing a disservice to your audience.
He really just gives him a smooth joyride like the rest of the pro-war officials he's had on
Hopefully someone suggests authorization now for Iran. The Congress would do it.
Recently. So being that his free speech is ironically being suppressed in these particular podcast episodes, as a result, Joe's been taking his anger out on easier targets lately, like poor Jamie Vernon.
Oh God, the only person who dares to try to fact check every now and then. Rogan flipped out at him. So go check out the rest of this video again, American Redact, and the title is Joe Rogan is completely compromised. Bro, he's cooked, bro. He's cooked. It's now the Jeffrey Epstein experience. He's missed, like, the core of the scandal and all of the amazing leaks. Didn't talk about him. And the things it's all safe. It's all the safe shit. He will refuse to bring up the people who he's now friends with. He's friends with all the AI tech assholes. The ones who are, literally trying to create God in a computer and take everybody's job from them and destroy this country. He's friends with them. He's friends with MAGA. He's friends with the billionaires. He's friends with the people creating an AI demon. So, yeah, he's going to go easy on them. And it's so crazy watching both Tim Dillon and Andrew Schultz, who have their own flaws that we've talked about, but to watch them run laps around Rogan now has been astonishing. But, yeah, he's never going to tell you the full truth, bro. He's never going to tell you the full truth. And deep down, by the way, deep down, he knows. He knows. Because he's had me on the show, 6 fucking times? And we talked about Trump, and I trash-Trumped his face, and he sat there and agreed with it. He knows. He knows that this guy's fucking Satan. He knows that. He knows all the fucked up shit he did in the first term. He knows that he's destroying the country now. He knows this, this war in Iran is a fucking catastrophe. He knows all that. But it's going to be, like I said, best case scenario, what he does is he retreats to, both sidesism. Oh, both sides are fucked up, bro. Things are going bad, but, both sides are bad. That's best case scenario. Worst case scenario, he continues to fucking sniff Trump's farts and tell him that they smell like fucking flowers. That's what's going to happen.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.